Okay, I've just received a signal from the chairman to proceed. We're all welcome back from the liturgy of the stomach. I hope it was worth the experience. Yes. Please, let's put our hands together for the organizers. They have done a good job. Without much ado, I'd like to call to the podium to drive us through the second session. Our second guest speaker is set, and so would like to please advise that you pick up your writing pads and pen to put down these wonderful nuggets about to be dished out. He has specially requested that I do not take the pain to go through all of his profile. When a request comes from the Vatican City, who am I in Nigeria to turn it down? He was born in Venezuela. He is of Italian descent. He was educated at the military school. Wow. Military. Wow. The more reason I have to keep to your requests. Because here, even the uniform of a military personnel hung on the line. I fear it more than the police. He is a diplomat, a lecturer, a pontifical Athenaeum Regina Apostolorum, amongst other academic institutions. Currently, he is an official of the Holy See Secretariat of State. He is the author of a number of works on chivalric order, Holy See Italy, San Marino, Order of Malta, and others, and protocol, where he possesses a deep knowledge, I repeat, deep knowledge of ceremonial principles. He has also published most articles on family history, genealogy, heraldry, etc., and belongs to many institutes worldwide related to these topics as the Apkmn Belgo-Espagnol Historia. I hope I got that. Oh, I spoke the Yoruba version. He also serves as an officer of arms of the Chronicler of Castilla Leon, fellow of the International Commission of Orders of Chivalry, and vice secretary of the... I think I have to stop there. I'm feeling intimidated by his profile. Please join me to welcome to the microphone Dr. Fabio Maximo Cassani Pironti.
Uses.
My Lord Archbishop, bishops, and other reverend clergy, right honorable knights and dames, honorable medalists, warm greetings to all present. It is a happy occasion to expose an essay of a contribution regarding the 16th Annual National Conference of the Association of Papal Knights and Medalists in Nigeria, and its activities, responsibilities, organization, and structure, specified for those who have been granted papal honors. This comprised both those who received papal knighthood, as well as the Cross Pro Ecclesia et Pontifice, the cross for the Church and the Pope, and the Benemerenti Medal, the medal for those who are meritorious. I feel honored and humbled to be among you all, well aware of the contribution each and all of you have already given to the church. But we all have to remember that the honor received is not the end of the work, but the beginning of the church support. Some of you already know that at present, the Holy See confers degrees in 3 different orders, one of Pope Pius IX, the second of St. Gregory the Great, and the third called of Pope St. Sylvester. The degrees are Knight with the Collar for Head of States for the Order of Pius, and subsequently for all the 3 orders, Grand Cross, Commander with Star, its equivalent in other orders to the Grand Official, the Commander, and the Knight. In 1996, Pope John Paul II opened to the women with equal degrees. There still are 2 other high orders with only 1 degree, which I mention just for historic reasons, the highest being that called the Supreme Order of Christ, followed by that of the Order of the Golden Spur. These last ones have not been granted during recent decennia and are hence considered as dormant, since none of the former recipients is now alive. One of the last recipients of the Supreme Order of Christ was King Baudouin of Belgium, whose process of beatification has been announced by His Holiness Pope Francis during his visit last September in Belgium. It lies within the sovereign decision of His Holiness whether this highest order may continue or not, but they are not being abolished. If there happen to be members here present belonging to the Sovereign Order of Malta or to the Order of the Holy Sepulchre of Jerusalem, they may be comprised wholeheartedly in our studies, even though they are not to be confused with papal honors, and therefore follow their disciplines under their own Grand Masters. The Holy See recognizes both orders. The same may be said, taken into consideration all that has not been of dynastic orders that have been approved by the Holy See in former times, and then continue to be granted to those who have the right to do so. Besides the 3 above-mentioned papal orders, it is known and appreciated that in your country, other ecclesiastical honors are granted, not by the Holy See, but according to the peculiar rules of those ecclesiastical entities, as fraternities or confraternities. This also exists in other countries. All carry special responsibilities, but evidently the knighthood orders of the Holy See do so in a special way. Papal honors are granted all over the world and are considered supreme, without direct comparison with other honors, albeit with some similarities, whether or not granted by civil governments or authorities that have the right to confer them legally. Much care must be taken with certain illegal honors, which should not be accepted, and which, unfortunately, usually are offered for certain sums of money. Now, I first wish to thank the organizers for having been invited me to speak here in this honorable assembly. And I am grateful to His Excellency, the Most Reverend Monsignor Fortunatus Manchu, titular Bishop of Aquaviva, for having made all this possible. As you well know, his high position in the Holy See as secretary of the section of First Evangelization in the missionary dicastery is particularly appreciated, as it is proof of Nigeria's valuable contribution to the service of His Holiness Pope Francis and the Church Universal. Thank you, sir. His precious presence in the Vatican is therefore highly esteemed by all. My own small contribution as a member of the Secretariat of State of His Holiness wants to give proof of the importance of your coming together. You have been chosen and honored by the Holy Father for meritorious Christian contribution to the Church and its endeavor to realize the kingdom of Christ in our time and place in this great country where you have been for over a century, witness of the ongoing first evangelization. I truly believe that continuing to operate with Nigeria First Evangelization is your principal duty and joy when evangelism is being proposed. I say joy because is there anything more beautiful than bringing to your own people the liberating word of our Lord Jesus Christ? The good news that He has brought us right from the Holy Land to every angle of this country, Africa, and the whole world. Moreover, how much work is there still to be done? How much your assistance is needed, not only that of bishops, priests, missionaries, or religious sisters, and all those who labor in the field, but your own help is whatever possible way. In the very first place, by your daily prayer that the kingdom of God cometh, as we say in the Lord's Prayer, your frequent reception of the holy sacraments, your Christian example, so that by your good example, many may be brought into the one fold. We do not force anyone to accept our convictions, but we propose them. We do not remain silent in the public forum nor in private, because we proclaim that we believe. I am sure you all feel this as your very first duty. How can one be a knight of the Church and not fight the spiritual battle? St. Paul, in his letter to the Ephesians, is so very clear in reminding us of that enormous duty which will bring peace to ourselves and to so many others, also those who are not yet full Christians. The armor of God, be strong in the Lord and in His mighty power. Put on the full armor of God so that you can stand against the devil's scheme. Therefore, put on the full armor of God so that you may be able to stand your ground. Stand firm with the belt of truth, the breastplate of righteousness in place. It means your papal orders, and with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. Take up the shield of faith. Take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit. A knight is someone who battles for his convictions, not with material, but with spiritual weapons. A knight is someone who does not wage battle alone, but with others under the leadership of those who are responsible for the welfare of the people of God. You are expected to support your spiritual shepherds at all levels. They must be sure that they can count on you for whatever contribution you can give. You are also, as Papal Knight, or with any papal recognition of your merits, in some way impersonating the Holy See itself in its duty to confirm the brethren in the faith, as our Lord himself told St. Peter to do. The more you will meditate on these issues, the better you will understand how you can make your equestrian duty real and effective. As we know also, have to consider education in this whole context. Let us remember that Catholic scholastic and university establishments are the backbone of the Church. Only by strengthening our education system can we be truly constructive in building up the Church and our nation itself. Like a lot of countries, Nigeria needs well-educated Christian men and women, and I have already seen many of them in Rome. If those who have received a papal honor try to do what is possible to assist in the Church endeavor to offer good education, they will certainly be blessed by all concerned. I suppose there will be other contributions on this important subject during this annual conference, but I do think it's essential to accentuate that those who have been honored by the Holy Father retain a special duty on this field, the education. Now we come to the most important aspect of our Christian lives, the exercise of the virtue of charity. How much have we meditated on this fundamental aspect of our being Catholic and Christians, and among the few who have been knighted by the Pope? How could a knight take this fundamental duty seriously without fully engaging himself? We all know the parable of the Good Samaritan, and we should often think of Saint Martin, a great noble knight that gave the part of his cloak that was his, the other part belonging to the state, to the poor man who was in dire need. In addition, how great is the need of the Church? The Church must feed, not only spiritually, but how often also materially. Do we see to it that this Christian duty can always be fulfilled? Do we come to the aid of all those who are truly in need? Can we do more? All what has been said belongs to the essence of life of those who wish to lead worthy lives as papal honorees, since they must be exemplary Christians. They must wear their honors with pride and work together as closely as possible in whatever good can be done and in whatever evil can be overcome. Do remember that papal honors are not just decorations. However much one may be proud of wearing them, but that they imply conduct worthy of a true Christian person. And I would like to cite the recently canonized Cardinal John Henry Newman. A true gentleman is a true saint. If you act according to the dignities you have received, you will all become holy. That is not an easy proposition, but you are prompted to do what you can in this direction when the Supreme Pontiff shows you his paternal appreciation. Vivant, crescant et floreant. I mean, may you live, grew and blossomed, all those who in Nigeria have been elevated to papal honor. Thank you. We will have time for the questions, but already I received some questions, and I want to read it and have the answers already. Then, obviously, I will be here for any other question you can. The first question, maybe all of you know it. Who are the Papal Knights? The Pope is a legitimate fons honorum. This means that he has the valid right, by virtue of his official position as head of the Roman Catholic Church, to award other people with orders of chivalry, like any other head of state. Papal Knights are those men and women that, in consideration of their service to the Church, are bestowed with this specific honor. What are their functions in the Church? Once invested with a specific order of chivalry or with one of the two medals, Papal Knights must continue their work of collaboration with the Church on a local or a global level. Having received a pontifical honor is not a point of arrival, as I already said, but the beginning of a path to the follower with commitment, to be followed with commitment. Then, third question. What is the difference between Papal Knights and other Knights of the Church? For example, Knights of St. Mulumba and Knights of St. John International. The difference between the Papal Knights and the other orders lies in the fact that the Pope is the sovereign of the Papal knighthood, and the awards them based on the merit, while the others, also a Christian inspiration, do not report directly to the Holy Father and are fraternities or confraternities, local or international. How does one become a Papal Knight? Through considerable merits toward the Church. This is the only explanation. A knight and a dame of the Pope are men and women who have given themselves conspicuously towards the Church in every form of support within their capacity. The pontifical orders of knighthood are secular orders of merit, whose membership is conferred on a direct decision of the Holy Father. Then, a specific question regarding the form of address. In English, you say style of the papal honores. What is style? Style is referring to how you address a person in a formal manner, and it varies on the status of the person. A married woman would be addressed as Mrs. A royal prince would be addressed as His Royal Highness. A bishop, His Excellency, the Most Reverend Monsignor. An ambassador, His Excellency. A male, regardless of being married, Mr. The Holy See tradition regarding knights and dames reflect the custom of continental Europe, which is in many aspects different from that of Great Britain. Members of the Papal Orders of Chivalry, both men and women, are treated as Right Honorable Chevalier, Right Honorable Commander, Right Honorable Grand Cross, Right Honorable Dame, Right Honorable Dame Commander, Right Honorable Dame Grand Cross. Recipients of the Papal medals, both men and women, are treated as honorable without any other specification. The use of the pronominal Sir and Lady are inappropriate because they do not belong to the Vatican's tradition. Are we going to make the question, or you will talk before, sir?
Dr. Pironti is ready to take questions. He's already answered some questions, but he's expressed his willingness to answer even some more. So please, yes, Right Honorable Chevalier, Commander.
Thank you. It's not always that we have opportunity of meeting somebody like you coming from Vatican. So for avoidance of doubt, we'd like to have some clarity, especially for my own information.
Excuse me. I will leave my address, my email, so whatever, even in the future, you can consult.
Oh, okay, but this one is just a simple one. Now, the point, I get all the points you said. I just want a clear take home. If somebody is a Dame of St. Gregory or Dame of St. Sylvester, is the person taken as a papal knight? Just that clarification.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, then.
All the ladies have received a pontifical knighthood orders are dames. It is specified in the 1996 decree of the Pope John Paul II.
I understand that. That's why they're called dames. All I'm just saying is this, because at times there is confusion when they say Dame of St. Sylvester or Dame of St. Gregory. Are they also taken as knights by Papal?
Obviously, sir. Okay, so that's sure. Sure. No, sir. No, I was obviously, that's all.
Thank you, sir, and welcome to Nigeria. The last point you made, sir, if you could explain it again, because it struck me as, I don't know, I was surprised. The last point said the titles are not appropriate, sir and lady. Did I listen well? Did I get it well?
Yes.
Please, could you explain that,
yes,
please?
The fact is that, sir, Europe has a tradition, and the Great Britain has another one. Orders of Knighthood of England used to give the treatment, the style of lady and sir for those who have received a British order. It doesn't happen in the Vatican. So if you call a woman who have received an order of the Pope a lady, it is not with our tradition. That's the point.
He said, what about the sir?
The sir is the sir. It's the same, sir.
No, what I'm saying is, I get, so the women here who are medalists are to be called dames.
No, sir. They are honorables only, because there is a difference. I want to explain you. The orders of knighthood are a first level, and the medals are a second level. So there is a difference between both.
So tell us now, please, how do I address my ladies here, my women here?
The honorable, the name and surname. The honorable.
I'll get it after.
The honorable Mary Smith, Croce pro Ecclesia Pontificia. That's the right way to express.
Let me just mention. You're correct. I wanted to just add. When you say the ladies here, you're going to say ladies who have been made knights, or ladies who have received medals. Now, if you are a lady who has been made knight, the instructions we have say those that are decorated E or decorated E in Italian is the male and female. They belong to the equestrian order. They are knights, but they are called, as he said, according to style. Some are called the Right Honorable Chevalier for the men, and the women, the Right Honorable Dame. That is a knight. These are the knights. Those that have been honored with papal medal, benemerenti, or pontific honorable, you give the name of the person. That's what he said. That's what he's saying.
Exactly.
So there is no confusion. There is no confusion.
I will repeat again. It's a difference of honor. It's two kinds. That's all. That's the reason, because it's different. Any other question? Good. Better.
I can see that those who are not in any of the two categories are even the more confused. Don't worry, when we get there, we will understand better.
Permit me now to take to come into this. I wish to inform you that the Nigerian style has been very much marked by the British influence. It is normal. Even myself, I find myself slipping into the British style of saying, sir. I say, even some of you, I write Satweli or sir. That is, in itself, is a British adulteration that we took up. You cannot appreciate how important the step you are taking is. You know what you're doing? You are trying to take ownership of your Catholic tradition and trying to say, we are knights of the Catholic Church. We are not knights of an Anglican tradition. So it is normal for an Anglican, a knight of the Anglican Church, a knight of St. Christopher. He says, sir, okay, that's from the English tradition, because they were being honored by the King of England, who was at the same time also the head of the Anglican Church. Now, growing up in a country that is very much marked by English tradition, we adopted that. Now, when I became head of protocol in the Secretariat of State, I even had also other issues. When addressing bishops, I found myself making the distinction we inherited from the Great Britain. A Monsignor who is Papal Chamberlain is Very Reverend Monsignor. A Monsignor who is Papal Prelate of Honor is a Right Reverend Monsignor. The Bishop is Right Reverend Doctor. The Archbishop is Most Reverend Doctor. So I started receiving letters from Nigeria, and everybody was saying, Most Reverend Bishop of Most Reverend. I said, no, but that is wrong. Most Reverend, Most Reverend. It took me time to go back to the continental Europe to see whether there was a difference in addressing a bishop and an archbishop. All of them were Reverendissimo, which is Most Reverend. And that is what the Americans took over, Most Reverend. Of course, I had to start gradually to wean myself of my English tradition and formation. And that is what you're doing. We are not condemning anything that it is wrong. You are only taking ownership of your Catholic identity and saying, according to the Catholic Church, we don't want to be saying sir and lady. We want to fall in line with what is done in the Holy See and in the Vatican City-State and what was done during the Pontifical States, where people were the Right Reverend or Right Reverend Chevalier, or the Right Honorable Chevalier, or then a very short way, informal way, you just say Chef Paul, Chef or Chevalier Paul, Chef Paul, instead of saying Sir Paul. You just, so you begin gradually to take ownership of your Catholic identity. Thank you.
Wow.
This one. The reason, as I told, the reason because it's not convenient for you to use sir and lady is because it's not our tradition. But there is another reason too. In the Vatican, we still take care of noble titles. And in England, a person who is called with sir and lady belongs to the nobility. So this is something that we want to difference in the Vatican. So this is another reason because we should not use it.
Any other question?
Your Excellency, mine is basically further clarification and reclarifications. Now we are face to face with the Papal Knights, and we've gotten it very correctly. But in the country, we also have other orders of knighthood, Knights of St. John's International and Knights of St. Mulumba. How should those be addressed?
Dr. Kazani Pironti was very clear on this. The Pope is source of honor. He can generate. If Pope Francis today decides to create another order of chivalry to honor some people, he can, because he is a sovereign. Now what we are dealing with are equestrian orders that have been created, instituted by past popes to honor people. They were instituted in different moments. He mentioned to you that the first two are now dormant. What we now have are three. The order of Pope Pius, the Blessed Pius, the ninth, which is called Piano Order. That one is usually given to politicians, not necessarily even Catholics. So the highest level, the collar, is given to heads of state. The Grand Cross is given to heads of government, to ministers, and to ambassadors accredited to the Holy See. The lower level of the Order of Piano of Pius, the piano order, is also given to junior diplomats accredited to the Holy See who distinguish themselves in a special way after at least 2 or 3 years of service to the Holy See. Now, apart from the order of Pius IX, we have the other 2 orders that are given mainly to Catholics that distinguish themselves in a special way in their service to the Holy Father, the Holy See, and the Catholic Church. And these are the order of St. Gregory the Great and the order of St. Sylvester Pope. The 2 orders are meant to, as I said before, tell you that the church is recognizing what you're doing. Second, to tell you that the church is grateful for what you're doing. Thirdly, tell you that the church is placing you on the lampstand as an example to other Christians, Catholics to follow. And therefore, you should not begin to dwindle. You should just grow higher and higher. How did he say it? Flourish. So, you should flourish. Now, that is very important to know. The devotion is to the Roman Pontiff. You are supposed to be defenders of the Pope. And that brings me to what Monsignor Key mentioned. How can you defend a person if you don't know that person or what that person is thinking? That person writes letters and you don't even know the content. That is what he said. You are not reading papal documents. And we are talking about you joining the politics, joining politics. And you go into politics, you are going into politics with your own fictions, with your own whims, and there, when you go, the wind blows right, you join the wind. It blows left, you join the wind. Because you don't know the thought of the person whose emblem you are bearing, or whose that is as a representative of Jesus Christ. And so what are you supposed to do as an association of bearers of the emblem, as honorees of the Holy Father? 1, organize sessions of study, not just your annual meetings. I know you are, look, I'm sure that when my friend Fabio goes home, he is going to be happy because he is going to say, I found a place where I find order in orders, according to his book. Because in the church, you were all very organized. Everything very organized. So this is something that is striking, but something more is needed. Take this order also in organizing yourself in your formation. Organize groups. Invite, if you don't want to do a study group, invite priests or experts to talk to you about the social doctrine of the church. And then the Right Honorable Chef Arumemi Ikede sent me the text of some work that was done by one of you on this question of titles. I want to say congratulations.
Really well done.
Yeah, he is saying it. Yeah, excellent job, great research. So if you do that with other things also, get somebody, get a small group to take, for example, the last encyclical letter of Pope Francis, Dilexit Nos, he loved us. Get some group to study it, and then call a meeting, get the group to present 15 minutes that document so that everybody knows it with points, summary, and then you discuss it. That is a way to study and go. Go with this, the way to move ahead. Since I'm speaking, they said I should gather together the things that have been said. In the morning, His Grace, the Archbishop, spoke about knowing yourself. And then Monsignor Key spoke about the responsibility. And we have as theme how to be responsible Catholics. I think that is the theme. Authentic Catholics. I want to tell you everything summarizing. What do you take home? I'm going to give you a code. When I tell people, I say I give codes so that you remember. The code is 1199. I hope you remember that. 1199. Let me hear it. 1199. You know why I'm saying that? If you get up in the morning, you remember 1199. If you're a politician, you go to the office, you remember 1199. A businessman, wherever you go, remember 1199. What is 1199? It is a biblical text. It is a biblical text. It is 1199. 1199. The first book of Samuel, the first book of Kings, chapter 19, verse 9. The prophet Elijah, after 30 days and 30 nights traveled, he arrived at the Horeb. He was so annoyed with God that instead of going to stay where he would encounter God, he went into a cave. There are some of us who are that way. They jump into what we call the cave spirituality, the cave mentality. In the cave, you don't see anything. You only see yourself. So God came and asked him, Elijah. He said, yes, Lord, here am I. And then you have 1199. God asked him, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? That is code 1199. Archbishop Martin called it self-awareness. And I put it in code for you, 1199. It is possible that in your translation of the Bible, because it is repeated in 2 verses, some versions of the Bible edit it out because it is in verse 9 and verse 13. So some edit out verse 9 and have it only in verse 13. But it is there. Elijah, what are you doing here? Why is it important? Because it is a question coming from God himself. And it is close. It is akin to the question that Jesus himself addressed to his very first disciples. The very first disciples of Jesus, you know where they came from? They were handed over to him by John the Baptist. You remember the story? John the Baptist was going with them. He saw Jesus passing by, And they pointed and said, "There goes the Lamb of God." And when the two of them heard that, they left their master John the Baptist and followed Jesus. There we have the second code. 0138. 0138. They go together. 1199 in the Old Testament. The version of the New Testament is 0138. 0138 is John chapter 1, verse 38. When Jesus turned and saw that the two disciples were coming towards him, he focused attention on them and he asked them, "What are you looking for?" God asked Elijah, "What are you doing here?" Jesus, "What are you looking for?" The same question. So 1199 Old Testament, 0138 New Testament. The answers are different, but they go to the same thing. In the Old Testament, Elijah said, I, and now they want to kill me. And you know what God said to him? "Get out of the cave and put yourself on the mountain." Because if you're in the cave, it is always I. Get out on the mountain. And for you to leave that cave mentality and get to the mountain, you have to encounter earthquake. You have to encounter fire. You have to encounter thunderstorm. If you go through them, then you come to know God. But if you are open, you answer like in the New Testament. The New Testament, they did not, Jesus asked them, "What are you looking for?" They didn't say, I. No. They asked him, "Master, you, where are you staying?" That is the night of the Holy Catholic Church. "Master, you, Jesus, where are you staying?" Always looking for Jesus. Always looking for interest of Jesus wherever you are. What am I doing here? Am I finding Jesus here? Looking for Jesus wherever you are. Verse 39, after 0138, verse 39 said, they asked him, "Master, where you stay?" And then he said, "Come and see." And they went and they saw and they stayed with him. Staying with Jesus. They stayed with him. A knight must stay with Jesus. I heard this morning about people saying, well, political affiliations and so on. I didn't vote that person. Remain with your conviction. But please ask yourself, is my conviction remaining with Jesus? Is my conviction, political conviction, remaining with Jesus? If it is not, then look at it twice. A person asks me, I was not in favor of that position. What should I do now? Answer, King David and Jesus Christ himself. I give you two answers. Jesus, in one of his parables, I like to quote it, Luke chapter 14. Luke chapter 14. He asks, which person going to battle? If you go all the way from verse 21. Which person going to battle? Seeing that the person he is going against has got 20,000, and he looks at himself and he has only got 10,000. What is he going to do? Allow himself to go and be slaughtered by the 20,000? Jesus does not want you to go and be slaughtered. Jesus wants you to be diplomatic. Says you go and ask for peace. And in your peace, you save your life and you save the life of other people. But I campaigned for another political party, and now I'm there being invited to come and work for another party. I take you to another biblical text. The second book of Samuel, chapter 12. David wanted his child, the child from his sin, with Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah. David wanted him alive. So he began to fast and fast and fast, lying in sackcloth and not eating. And his children, his followers, his servants were afraid of talking to him. But then the child died. In spite of all his efforts, in spite of his prayers. What did David do? Kill himself? No, he got up and went on with life. And his disciples came and said, what is this? When the child was alive, you were fighting, you were fasting, and so on. But now the child is dead. You've gotten up, and you're eating, and you're going on. And David, interesting. I love this story. It's 2 Samuel chapter 12 from verse 15, going on to the end, towards 15 to 22, said 23. Said, well, as long as the child was alive, I prayed. I said, maybe he would not die. But now he's dead. What can I do? I will go to him. He will not come back to me. Sometimes you just have to say, we go there, we join them. But I try to discover Jesus Christ there. And let me tell you, you can discover Jesus Christ everywhere. If you have the Jesus Christ in your heart, you can go even to a place everybody is smelling the devil. You come in. You are convinced. You carry Jesus in your heart. You can begin. One day you convert one, another day you convert the other by your example, not by your word only. By your example. They try to corrupt you. They see you are incorruptible. Everybody will go out. They would be, kuchi behind you. What are they saying? That one, don't mind, or that one, you cannot corrupt him. That is the night of the church. Because you have it in your heart. Mark chapter 7, verse 21. Actually 20:21. Because the good or the bad is in your heart. And from there it comes out. If you carry that Jesus in your heart, you can go anywhere. You can work with anybody. And you can transform any environment. That is what we expect you to do as knight of the church. I've been amazed at the number. Amazing. The quality of people we have as knights. This morning I saw the lady. They said the first ever woman to be in charge. And when I, what? He's a Catholic. Not just a Catholic. He's a knighted dame of the church. Wow. Let me begin. If I begin with some of you are the greatest, some of the most famous businessmen we have here. Some of you occupy delicate positions in government, in affairs. Ask yourself, have you brought in Jesus there? Don't say it is a dirty world, it is a dirty government, it is a dirty environment. Begin yourself. Begin yourself. If you come in, let everybody say, everybody, every place is dirty there, except that place that man is standing. And let me tell you, if you think people don't see, then you underestimate people. People see. In a group, people see. And it is going to dawn on you the day you are going to stay alone. Somebody will come and touch you and say, may I talk with you when you have time? The person will wait till others have gone. He will come from behind and say, please, I have a... We'll start telling you his or her problems because they have known your quality. They have discovered the Jesus in you. That is what we expect of the Papal Knights. Begin to make the difference. Begin to make the difference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Please tell somebody, make a difference. Your Excellency, thank you very much for those codes. 1199 0138. I'm only very happy that we don't have lovers of Lotto in the house. Because the moment you reel out those codes, they will think it's a winning number. Okay, so we will take announcement, if any, before vote of thanks. Question? You still want to ask a question? Okay.
Your Grace, it's not every time that we have this opportunity. Some of us believe that knowledge is power, but at times some of us are slow in learning. And the first code you said is on Old Testament, 1199. And I just want to be very clear. Or the first book of Kings, you say chapter 19. I didn't get the verse 9. If I got it, I wouldn't ask. Thank you. Verse 9. Thank you.
Yeah, there was a question somebody asked about how do you address the Knights of St. John International and Knights of St. Mulumba. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I got carried away. Thank you. The Knights of St. John, Knights of St. Mulumba, they are knights, they're confraternities within the Catholic Church, like also Knights of Columbus in the U.S. So these are knights and confraternities within the Catholic Church. They also work in collaboration with the local ordinaries. Now, to be fully recognized by the Holy See, they have to be registered normally with the Pontifical Council for Laity in the Vatican. Now, that does not make them and equestrian order instituted by the Holy Father. Those ones are very limited. There are also others, ancient equestrian orders. Two of them only that he mentioned are officially, directly by the Pope recognized. And this is the Order of Rhodes and Malta, and then the Holy Sepulchre of Jerusalem. And then, of course, there are also other dynastic orders, but he did very well to warn you about false orders that go about, trafficking titles and knighthoods for money. Now, the others, the Knights of St. John and Knights of St. Mulumba, as local, I would say so, confraternities within the church, even though they could spread across other countries, they have a right to determine how to address their own knights. Since they are in Nigeria, nothing prevents them from saying we keep the title Sir, which is English and not continental Europe. Nothing stops them from saying we keep to the title Lady, which is English, not continental Europe. Dr. Kasani Pironti said one thing that is important. We remember that the knighthood of the Great Britain had to do with also nobilities. So they were called knights and ladies also because of their noble character. One of the popes, initially, some level of the knighthood of the Holy See also conferred a character of nobility, but one of the popes removed that dimension. So knights of the Holy See directly do not confer nobility, and therefore also their way of addressing is affected. So it belongs to the association to determine how they wish to address their own knights. Thank you. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, sir. Okay. After you.
Just to finish. Right. In 1939, Pope Pius XII changed the nobility for the order, so it doesn't exist. Even, I have to tell you, this is an anecdote I have with a very important cardinal, that somebody says that, no, in 1939, the Pope decided not to be noble anymore. And he said, but the titles, the knighthood of the Holy Father, they give nobility to them who receive it. And it's true, because it's the greatest honor we can have in the world. This is one. The other thing is about the other confraternities. The most important difference is the institutional position. The Pope is not the boss. This is something really different. The Pope is the head of the order of St. Sylvester and the other ones, but not the head of the other orders.
Yeah, have it. Yeah, once again, great thanks to Grace, our Bishop Fortunatus. In recent times, two Reverend Fathers of the Catholic Church have ended up as governors of a state in Nigeria. I think, Moses Adasu, and now we have Reverend Father Alia. We do hear that even their bishops say to them, no, don't go there. We do hear that even higher authorities in the church say to them, no, don't go there. I quite agree that Catholics are free to do politics with an attempt that we could change things around. But when Reverend Fathers leave their vocation and go so deep into politics, end up as governors. For the first one, Adasu, at the end of it all, we didn't quite see what we benefited out of that. Of course, that, I think, ended his priestly life. Now we have a second one going. And he's been rubbished as much as possible. Muds have been thrown at him from every angle. That's not the kind of thing we believe that our reverend fathers and serious priests should get involved with. I don't know what your grace would say about that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Code of Canon Law, the Canon Law is very clear about that. Priests are forbidden from getting involved in active politics. That is the basic line. And the bishop that tells his priest, don't go there, is doing his work as a pastor. The priest who disobeys and goes ahead is disobeying his pastor. And when there is a case of gross disobedience, the canon law stipulates how to proceed. You have an effort to initially softly talk to the person, try to regain the person paternally. If the person is persistent, you give the person an official warning, written. If the person still is persistent, you give the person, after some time, another official warning. If the person still persists, the bishop may address the letter to the Holy See and ask that the person be dispensed. That is a right, something that is reserved to the Pope, the Holy See. The Bible is very correct, very, very clear even on this. I have quoted for you twice from the first book of Kings, once already. Now there is another one, first book of Kings. Chapter 18. I like the prophet Elijah. Chapter 18, verse 21. When Elijah began his public, came out, he wanted to clean the land of Israel. He got the people together. He asked them, for how long are you going to be jumping between two poles? No. If your God is Adonai Yahweh, stay with him. If it is Baal, then you stay with Baal. And that was what he said, and then eventually he went to the contest with the priests of Baal on Mount Carmel. The same thing is applicable even to us today. If a person is a priest, he is to be a priest. If he wants to go into politics, then he goes into politics and relinquishes the other. I know it doesn't belong to me to give this to you, but I know that the Bishops' Conference of Nigeria has been seized with this topic. And I can tell you they have referred it also up there. And maybe some clear legislation, decision of the Bishops' Conference will be coming. Of course, there are moments when maybe people in political dispute ask for an ecclesiastic, a priest, or a bishop to intervene, when that type of situation arises, it is usually a special permission given by the Pope. We have the case of the conflict in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and they needed the intervention of the late Cardinal, what is the name of the great biblical scholar? I've forgotten his name, he passed a few years ago. And the Pope told him, okay, you can mediate, you can go in. And they held political office for some time to be able to hold the two sides together. We had also another case in Togo, and the former Archbishop of Lomé, Archbishop Philippe Bodro, referred also to the Vatican, and the Pope gave him authorization to hold political office and try to mediate for sides. That is possible. So the canon law says priests are not authorized to do it without special authorization from, first, if it is a look at a lower level, from the local ordinary. If the bishop of the priest says, oh no, we need the priest to do this, the bishop can refer to the Holy See and say, I want my priest to do that. But otherwise, it is forbidden for priests, and it could eventually end up in the dismissal of the priest. Thank you.
The chairman of the organizing committee.
Your Grace, thank you very much for this enlightening session. Many of us are members of either Knights of St. Mulumba or Knights of St. John, and we get honored by the Pope. So our mode of dressing becomes a problem. We put on the Knights of St. Gregory uniform, as Knights of St. John's uniform, and then use the medal of Knights of St. John. So while we are dressing as Papa Knights, we put on the medal of, sorry, are you here, Your Grace? Okay, sorry. Okay, Your Grace, what I'm saying is that some of us, or many of us, or some of us, whatever I want to say, are members of these either Knights of St. Mulumba or Knights of St. John. And in our mode of dressing, while fully dressed as members of Knights of St. John, we put on the papal medals of other Knights of St. Sylvester or Knights of St. Gregory, while dressed as members of other Knights of St. John or Knights of St. Mulumba. And then some of us, even after dressing as Papa Knights with Papa medals, we put on CON or other local medals like Institute of Accountants or something else like that. So please, can you clarify our proper mode of dress for us, please?
That's jollof dressing.
Exactly. One good thing we have in the Catholic Church, even as Christians, is the freedom that comes to us from Christ. I give you an example. I am a priest, by the grace of God, been made Archbishop. I dress up, I'm proud, happy, grateful to God, grateful to the Holy Roman Catholic Church that I am privileged to serve. But while I was head of protocol in the Vatican, I was decorated, given Grand Cross of O'Higgins of Chile, was given the highest also of Peru. When I served as apostolic nuncio in Nicaragua, since I was dean of the diplomatic corps, I was able to help in holding the country in peace. for 5 years. It was a golden period of that country. When I was going, I was given a photo that they call the Angel of Peace. And then I was given the decoration, Grand Cross of the Order of Marcoletti. Now, I have all these things packed somewhere. I think there are about 6 of them from various countries. You can imagine me. I have a right coming, wear my cassock as bishop, and then I put that of Nicaragua, that of Peru, that of Chile, that of Italy, that of... So all of them, I have them hanging down. What am I trying to say? That this is not enough? I need all these ones. It is a different thing if, for example, I have an event and the president of Chile is coming to visit. I wear my cassock. I go and take the pin of that of O'Higgins and put, because I'm having the president of Chile coming. Or I'm attending a meeting of the heads of state of Latin America. I will put that of Chile, that of Nicaragua, that of Peru, maybe 3 of them, and go there and show them, look, I'm also a friend of Latin America, even though I'm an archbishop. That is a circumstance. So you don't prohibit anything, but we avoid superfluity and pomposity. Yes, okay. Just I give the expert also to talk.
There is a rule, a principle, that in a specific occasion like this one, the only decoration you can wear on your dress is the decoration of the order that you belong. Even if you have the beautiful and legal decoration, because this is an event of the orders, of the papal orders in Nigeria. So the only decorations that can be worn on this, not the other ones, but on these uniforms, are the decorations of the Holy See. This is a general principle, not only for you, for everybody. Huh?
Thank you so much. I think we are getting enlightened. I want to speak in relation to what we see happening to priests too. Some of our priests are struggling for titles. Yes. They go traditional titles, they want to get it, and then they tell them the condition for such title is you have a woman. Yes. You must get a what? A woman, before they give you such titles. Apart from that, the traditional titles, I see in the night of St. Mulumba, our priests are knighted. Already you are a reverend father, and you're supposed to carry on with your spiritual obligation as a spiritual pastor. And then you go, and then you are knighted through their initiation. What is the take of a church in that? Thank you.
The church always tries to, how can I say, follow all the ships. So everybody needs help. So if a priest is sent for an organization, it is good that he can help them. That's my opinion.
I have to make a distinction. There's a distinction between being knighted and being invited to be a chaplain of the organization. I am a chaplain of the Order of Malta, but I'm not a knight of the Order of Malta. I'm a chaplain because they are Catholics. And the role of a chaplain is that of transmitting the Catholic doctrine, Catholic morals, the mores, and the teachings of the Catholic Church, and helping the members to grow. Now, any confraternity, any association could invite a priest and make a priest a chaplain. But if you're going to be made a knight, what are you looking for the title for? I can tell you something. There are also, the honors are given by the person that has got the power to give the honor because of something you did. I'm going to tell you a story. When I was serving as head of protocol, I was told of a young seminarian, and he was having difficulty where he was in Europe. He was the best student in the seminary. He was their organist and leader of the choir. He was the best. And he happened to be friends with my younger brother, who is a priest. My younger brother told me, I know you help many people. Could you help my friend? So he told me the story. I spoke with him. I decided to travel to that place. I went there. And I saw the situation. I saw that there was injustice going on because they denied this gentleman. I spoke with the rector. The rector raised flimsy excuses. So there I told him, if this gentleman is not promoted next year, made deacon with these others, he has been delayed for 1 year, I will take it up with your bishop. So that changed everything. Eventually, I pushed and went on because I saw I was convinced. Not because I just wanted to. I saw he was good. And eventually, this gentleman was made priest. He told me he was going to do his first mass. I said, okay. I continued to encourage him. Eventually, he said he wanted me to preach at his Thanksgiving Mass in his home village. I didn't know he had other things up his sleeves. So he waited until he knew when I was going to have my vacation, and I told him within this period. He fixed the Thanksgiving Mass that time. And I traveled from my home to his place close to Enugu. And I preached at the first Mass. Wanted to raise off. He said, no, there is a reception. I went to the reception. And there was the king of the place. And I didn't know they had prepared everything. They wanted to make me their traditional title. Now, there was no woman involved. There was only, they wanted to make me chief one the number one. That is brother in foreign land. So I said, okay. They did their whole thing. They invited me with a dance and so on, and they gave me the title and they gave me the fan. And I thanked them, and I went away. I'm not the type that carries fans. I'm not the type that, thanks to God, I'm not yet using any staff. So when I got home, I gave the staff to my mother who needed it, and gave her the fan that you could use. But I thanked them. I saw it as a recognition, as an expression of gratitude. So if chieftaincy and titles are that type, I don't see anything wrong with it. But I just can't imagine the next title that will be higher than Reverend Father. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, she can't stay here because of the speaker.
Can you give her the mic?
Please, don't take me. Don't take me. Your Grace, all protocols observed. I think we are dragging this matter too long. I was to be the queen of my town, my village. And I told them when they called me that I cannot do that because I have Bible on my right hand. And I'm not going to carry pot of rituals on my left hand. And I rejected it. For that particular reason, I don't sleep in my town. Up till this moment, I'm standing with you. If I go home, I don't sleep in my town. I sleep in another town because I rejected it. If you are a Christian, be a Christian. If you want to do chieftaincy or whatever, do one at a time. That is, I think that is my own policy.
I am totally with you on that. But there is another side to the story. I give you two examples that I've known. When I began my service in the Holy See as a young diplomat, I was posted to Ghana. And I wanted to know a little bit more about the Ashanti. And I know that they elected a lawyer who grew up, was practicing in the UK. He came back, was an Anglican, and they told him, you are the person, and listed to him all the things that were required. He said, if you want me to do all these things, keep your chieftains, your thing, I'm not going to be. They so much insisted, he said, okay, I accept on the condition that you strike off that. You strike off that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not anything that goes against my Christian faith. I'm not. And they allowed him. They sent away, the first thing they sent away was the harem of women that were to be handed over to him from the former king. And they said his wife was, he said, no, just my wife, no other person. So a lot of things. So he brought in a transformation. Instead, you can also say, I'm not going to run away. I'm going to do it if it is just leading my people. I'm going to lead my people as a Christian. I give you the example of my father. My grandfather was a holder of the idols in my village. So as he was getting older, they came to my father and said he was to inherit, take over the idols. My father told them, look, if you don't carry these things away, I'm going to set them on fire. The villagers knew my father. They knew he was ready for all the consequences and to burn those things. So they came and removed the things from my father's compound. An interesting thing, some years after, my father was able to get his own father, who was the former leader, to be baptized a pair of years before he died. And so they took away those things. My father still continued to be the point of reference in the village, but without any thing having to do with idolatry. Of course, some years after, my father had a stroke and was in coma for a week. And the people were saying, the gods have come to take him because he rejected them. But when eventually my father miraculously got out of the stroke and recovered everything, the use of his limbs and everything. They were all silenced. And he went on to live for 9 years until the Lord called him. So we don't need to succumb to certain things. We should also be agents of change. Thank you.
Yes, so we are concluding now. If you're a Christian, remain a Christian. Don't apply SIM card use into Christianity. You know, some of us are in MTN, Glo, Etisalat, porting anyhow. So we thank you all for your patience and your active participation. At this point, to do the grand vote of thanks, just before that, I'd like to quickly say that the next program after we close here will start at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. That's the change I've just been asked to reel out. It's no longer, it's 6 p.m. Oh, sorry. I got that information from the organizing committee. It's dinner. It's not for, it's for you nights. Those of us that are day, we must have gone back to. Yeah, so that is for 6 p.m. Then at St. Leo's Hall. For tomorrow, of course, as scheduled, 6 a.m. morning prayer. Then 6:30 a.m. the Mass. Be also at 7:45, we have